Who are you? Not your name, not your body, not your mind, your past, or your desires. Strip it all away, and what remains? We spend our lives constructing an identity, a coherent, stable self that feels whole and real. We say, I am this, I am that. We cling to memories, emotions, and thoughts, believing they define us. But what if the you have always believed in is nothing more than a mirage? A carefully crafted illusion, so intricate, so convincing, that questioning it feels like questioning existence itself? You have always assumed you are the observer, the one behind the eyes, the one making the decisions. But let me ask you this. Who is observing the observer? And the moment you try to find it, it slips away. A neuroscientist once embarked on a journey to pinpoint consciousness itself, to find the precise location of the self within the human brain. He mapped out neural pathways, traced electrical signals, and meticulously dissected the nature of awareness. If the self is real, it must have a home, a control center, a you directing thoughts, making decisions, experiencing life. But as he explored deeper, something terrifying emerged. No matter where he looked, there was no thinker behind the thoughts. No central command, no hidden observer sitting inside the skull, pulling the strings. Just an endless chain of processes, arising and dissolving like waves in an ocean. The self was not a thing. It was not an entity. It was a process, a fleeting arrangement of neural activity, ever-changing, never fixed. It was everywhere and nowhere at once. And yet, if the observer is not real in the way we imagine, who is reading these words right now? Pause. Close your eyes. Listen. Who is hearing this voice inside your head? Your mind will try to answer, offering memories, labels, past experiences. It will tell you, I am this, I am that. But look deeper. If you strip away every label, every belief, every passing thought, what remains? Did you choose your first thought this morning? Did you control the emotions that arose today? Can you predict the next thought that will appear in your mind? We assume we are the thinker, the controller, the one making the choices. But if your thoughts happen to you, if they appear on their own, then who, if anyone, is controlling them? Imagine standing in front of a mirror, staring at your reflection. You might think, that's me. But what if the reflection spoke back and said the same thing? This is what your mind does. It generates thoughts and then convinces you that those thoughts are you. It weaves a narrative so compelling, so intricate, that you never question whether the storyteller actually exists. The voice inside your head? It never stops talking. It narrates your entire life. It creates problems just so it can solve them. It clings to regrets from the past and anxieties about the future, keeping you trapped inside a loop of suffering. But here's what it doesn't want you to know. You are not the voice in your head. You are the silence beneath it. Think about your dreams. Inside a dream, everything feels real. The places, the people, the emotions. You don't question the dream world while inside of it. You simply accept it. Then suddenly you wake up, and in that instant you realize none of it was ever real. What if waking life is no different? What if the thoughts, worries, and fears that consume you are just another dream, one you have yet to wake up from? Neuroscientists have spent decades searching for the I in the brain. Every time they look, they find nothing. Because the observer is not a thing, it is awareness itself. The greatest minds in history have all arrived at the same realization. The Stoics taught that true wisdom comes from stepping back, not identifying with emotions, but observing them pass. Einstein questioned the very fabric of time and space, recognizing that our perception of reality is only a construct. Buddhism speaks of anatta, the realization that there is no fixed self, only an ever-shifting stream of experiences. You were never just your thoughts. You were never just your memories. You were never just the emotions passing through you. The only constant in your life has been the one thing you never noticed, the silent awareness beneath it all. And now the real question, what happens when you stop identifying with the mind? Something radical happens when you stop believing the mind story. Imagine stepping outside yourself for a moment. Imagine stepping outside yourself for a moment. Picture your thoughts as voices in a crowded room. One voice whispers anxieties about the future. Another clings to regrets from the past. Another tells you that you are not enough. And you are simply standing there watching them speak. Now, what if you stopped engaging? What if instead of reacting, you just watched? Here's the secret. Your mind needs problems. It creates conflicts to keep itself busy. But the moment you stop feeding into the illusion, something profound happens. Silence. And in that silence, the illusion of you begins to dissolve. Imagine living your entire life inside a room with no windows. Inside this room, there are mirrors, countless reflections bouncing back at you, reinforcing the idea that you exist as a singular, separate entity. The reflections tell a story. This is who you are. This is what you've done. This is what you must fear. This is what you must chase. From birth, you accept this story as truth. The mind, like a skilled artist, paints a vivid picture of reality, carefully constructing the illusion of you, a separate, independent being navigating a world of objects, people, and time. And then one day, something strange happens. You press your hand against the walls of the room, and for the first time, they don't feel solid. A crack forms. Light seeps in from somewhere outside. And in that instant, a terrifying realization dawns. The room was never real. The walls were never there. The mirrors were only reflecting a dream. This is what happens when you begin to see through the illusion of the self. The idea of you, the thinker, the doer, the controller, begins to unravel. And as unsettling as this moment may be, it is also the key to your liberation. If the self is just a story, an elaborate narrative constructed by the mind, then why does it feel so real? Because the illusion is reinforced by everything you have ever known. Memory. The mind stitches together fragments of past experiences, forming an unbroken timeline to convince you that you have always existed. Language. Every sentence requires a subject, an I that acts and decides, further cementing the belief in a separate self. Society. The world is built around personal identity, names, roles, achievements, keeping you attached to an idea of selfhood. The mind's need for control. If the self were revealed as an illusion, the mind would lose its grip, and with it, its sense of power. But the biggest reason? Fear. What happens if you are not who you thought you were? The ego, a fragile structure built over years, will fight for survival. It will resist, rationalize, and pull you back into the story. And yet, the moment you let go of identification, something radical happens. You don't disappear. You don't lose yourself. You awaken to something far greater than the self you have clung to. If you truly wish to break free, try this. Find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Watch your thoughts as they come and go. Ask yourself, who is watching? Where is the observer? Can you find it? Or does it vanish the moment you search for it? The mind will attempt to answer with thoughts like, I am the observer. I am the one watching the thoughts. But pause. A deeper question emerges. Who is watching the one who is watching? It is here, in this precise moment, that the illusion begins to collapse. Because the truth is this. The observer you have always imagined, the one behind the eyes, is just another thought appearing in consciousness. The very act of seeking the self reveals its absence. When you stop identifying with the mind's constant stream of narratives, something incredible happens. Thoughts lose their grip. They still arise, but they no longer pull you into suffering. Emotions no longer define you. Anger, fear, sadness, they pass through like clouds, but they do not consume you. The need to control disappears. Life unfolds effortlessly without resistance. Instead of reacting to life, you begin to witness it. Instead of seeking meaning, you become the awareness that allows all meaning to exist. Instead of fearing the unknown, you merge with it. This is not just philosophy, it is the fundamental shift that every great wisdom tradition has pointed to. In Zen Buddhism, they call it satori, a sudden glimpse of reality as it truly is, free from illusion. In Hinduism, it is the realization of Brahman, the infinite consciousness beyond the personal self. In Taoism, it is described as Wu Wei, effortless being, flowing with existence rather than resisting it. In modern neuroscience, it aligns with the discovery that the brain constructs a sense of self after thoughts and decisions arise, proving that you were never in control to begin with. The greatest misunderstanding is the belief that awakening is something you must achieve, that one day after years of meditation or study, you will break free. But the truth is, you were never trapped. There was never a cage, never a separate self to liberate. Just awareness, always present, always free, always untouched by the fluctuations of thought. The mind creates the illusion of separation. The moment you stop identifying with it, the illusion dissolves. And what remains? Something deeper than words can express, a vast, limitless awareness, a silent presence beyond time, the eternal witness. You are not the thinker, you are not the doer, you are not even the observer. You are that which watches the observer itself. And in this realization, the grand illusion crumbles. You wake up and everything changes.